Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this guy supposed to cover ancient civilizations and dead presidents? Well, here's the thing. Brady's been playing football for so long, he practically is ancient history. The man's career spans from the Bush administration, the first Bush administration. Okay, maybe not that old, but you get the point. The humble beginnings. Our story begins in 1977 in San Mateo, California, where Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. was born. Yes, that's a lot of names for someone who would eventually just be known as TB12 or the g.o.a.t. His parents probably thought they were naming a future accountant, not a football deity. Growing up, Brady was obsessed with Joe Montana, which is ironic because he'd eventually make Montana look like a high school JV quarterback. Brady attended football camps, studied film religiously, and probably practiced his autograph in case he ever got famous. Little did he know he'd be signing so many championship footballs that his hand would develop its own muscle memory. But here's where it gets interesting. Brady wasn't even the best quarterback in his own family. Okay, that's a lie, but he wasn't exactly lighting up the recruiting world either. He was the classic, looks like a dad at a barbecue athlete. Not particularly fast, not particularly strong, but with an arm that could thread a needle and a brain that could process defensive schemes faster than a supercomputer. The Michigan years. Brady heads to the University of Michigan in 1995, where he'd spend the next 5 years fighting for playing time like he was auditioning for Hamilton on Broadway. And just like Hamilton, it took forever to get his shot. Picture this. It's the late 90s. Everyone's got frosted tips. Cargo pants are fashionable. And Tom Brady is. Sitting on the bench, wondering if he'll ever get to play meaningful football. He's literally the backup too. The backup at one point. The coaching staff saw him and thought, yeah, this guy's got a future in insurance sales. But Brady had something special. The ability to absolutely lose his mind when things went wrong, then channel that rage into laser-focused performance. His teammates called him California Cool, because he was about as cool as a California wildfire when he got angry. Finally, in his junior and senior years, Brady gets his chance and he's pretty good. Not great, not spectacular, but good enough to make some people think, hey, maybe this guy could play on Sundays. Maybe in arena football. The draft disaster. Now we get to the most famous draft story in NFL history. The 2000 NFL Draft, where 198 players were selected before Tom Brady. That's right, 198. 6 quarterbacks were taken before him. 6! The Patriots finally selected Brady with the 199th pick, probably because Bill Belichick needed someone to hold clipboards and fetch coffee. The draft experts said he was too slow, too weak, and looked like he'd rather be at a wine tasting than in a football game. Fun fact. The draft combined photo of Brady shirtless became an internet meme before internet memes were even a thing. The man looked like he'd never seen a weight room, let alone lived in one. If you told someone in 2000 that this was the future greatest quarterback of all time, they'd have recommended you for a psychological evaluation. The dynasty begins. Fast forward to 2001. Brady's still mostly a bench warmer behind Drew Bledsoe, who was the Patriots' franchise quarterback and looked like an actual NFL player. Then fate intervenes in the form of Mo Lewis and a devastating hit that injured Bledsoe. Enter Tom Brady, looking like someone's little brother who snuck into the game. The Patriots start winning, and everyone's thinking, this is cute, but wait until they play a real team. Spoiler alert, they kept winning against real teams. The 2001 season culminates with the Patriots making the Super Bowl against the heavily favored St. Louis Rams. The greatest show on turf. Vegas had the Patriots as 14-point underdogs. 14 points. That's not a spread. That's a suggestion to not even show up. But then something magical happened. Brady played like he'd been doing this for decades. The Patriots defense turned the Rams offense into the greatest show on earth, if Earth was having a really bad day. And Adam Vinatieri kicked the game-winning field goal. At 24 years old, Brady became the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. The celebration was epic. Brady's jumping around like he just won the lottery, which, let's be honest, he basically did. The middle years, perfection and heartbreak. The 2000s were like a roller coaster designed by someone who really enjoyed emotional whiplash. Brady wins 2 more Super Bowls in 2003 and 2004, establishing a dynasty that made other teams question their life choices. Then comes 2007, the year Brady and the Patriots decided to play football on cheat codes. They went 16-0 in the regular season, with Brady throwing 50 touchdown passes and looking like he was playing against middle schoolers. The offense was so good, defensive coordinators were updating their resumes mid-game. Everyone's thinking, this is it, the perfect season. They're one game away from immortality, facing the New York Giants in Super Bowl 42. The Giants had barely made the playoffs and were led by Eli Manning, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else on earth. And then, the unthinkable happened. The Giants won. Eli Manning beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. It was like watching David beat Goliath, if David was really awkward and Goliath had spent all year being told he was invincible. Brady was so devastated, he probably spent the entire offseason staring at his 3 Super Bowl rings, wondering if they were enough. Spoiler alert, they weren't. The comeback years. The 2010s were Brady's hold my avocado ice cream and watch this era. He comes back with a vengeance, making Super Bowl appearances like other people make grocery store runs. 2014 brings us the infamous Deflategate scandal, where Brady was accused of deflating footballs to gain an advantage. The man who could thread a needle with a football was apparently worried about air pressure. It was like accusing Michael Jordan of needing shorter basketball hoops. The whole thing was more blown up than the footballs allegedly weren't, but it resulted in Brady being suspended for 4 games in 2016. The Patriots went 3-1 without him, proving that even without Brady, they were still really good. With Brady back, they were basically playing a different sport. Then comes Super Bowl 51 against the Atlanta Falcons, a game that redefined the phrase, never give up. The Patriots were down 28-3 in the third quarter. 28-3. Most people would have started planning their off-season vacations. But Brady channeled his inner Terminator and led the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. The Falcons went from planning championship parades to wondering what the hell just happened. Brady proved that even when you think you've got him beat, he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve. And his sleeves are surprisingly long. The final acts. Brady continues his reign of terror through the late 2000s and 10s, collecting Super Bowl rings like they're Pokemon cards. By 2019, he's got 6 championships and is seriously considering starting his own jewelry store. But then, 2020 happens, and Brady does the unthinkable. He leaves New England for Tampa Bay. It was like watching your dad leave for cigarettes, except he went to Florida and won another Super Bowl. The 2020 season was Brady's victory lap that turned into another championship parade. He wins Super Bowl 55, his 7th ring, and basically tells Father Time to take a number and wait in line. Brady finally retires in 2022, then unretires 40 days later because apparently retirement is harder than reading NFL defenses. He plays one more season, then retires again in 2023, hopefully for good this time. But with Brady, you never know.